your hosts, Marcus Catkin and Matt Dougal.
Marcus Catkin back with Matt Dougal for another Blindside Fantasy Football podcast. Guys, just make sure you follow us on Twitter, by the way, at Marcus Catkin, at Matt Dougal. Also, if you're liking the podcast, hopefully you've been listening for the last couple of years, make sure to give us a review on iTunes and let us know how much you like it.
Or you don't like it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, whatever. Who cares?
We can delete those, though, right?
No, you can't.
Damn, never mind.
Edit that out. I just want to say real quick, I want to kind of give myself a little pat on the back. If you guys haven't been watching, go check out my GPP videos every week. I'm not an expert, but I play one on a podcast. And my GPP picks, they've been nailing it. I mean, week 2, I told you Flacco, Steve Smith, Crockett Gilmore, Sammy Watkins against a suspect Malcolm Butler and Richard Rodgers. Those all turned out really well. Last week, I told you to pivot off of Marshawn Lynch and go to Adrian Peterson. That seemed to work out pretty well. I told you to double stack LeGarrette Blount and Dion Lewis. 4 total touchdowns for the two of them. That turned out pretty good. Talked up Alan Hearns, who was a mid-salary player, and hit that nice long touchdown. And then Demaryius Thomas, a guy that I loved last week, had him in a lot of my cash game lineups. 8% owned in most tournaments, had 100 yards and a touchdown. Matt, I've been crushing it. Crushing the GPPs.
Well, while you're patting yourself on the back, I might as well give myself a few. Hopefully you like Devonta Freeman in your lineups, because I told you to play him in your GPPs.
Yeah, he was
One
good.
name that wasn't on your list, though, Marcus.
He wasn't on my list, but he was in a couple of my GPPs.
Yeah, and we talked about it last week.
That turned out
good. Another one for you.
For this week?
Yep. Do you remember?
No, what?
The argument we had with the backup to Marshawn Lynch. Rawls is the guy.
We'll talk about it.
I think I won that one. But, no, good work out of you, definitely. 2 weeks in a row, they've been solid.
Yeah.
I ain't going to lie, I watched them.
Yeah, you're one of the 3 people.
Yeah. I didn't use them, but I should have.
We're recycling jokes. I think I said that last week, too.
Yeah, it's all right. This is what we do. They didn't hear last week's either, so this is most of the people's first time listening.
So, Matt, a couple things I learned in week 3 here.
Hopefully one was a new joke.
Yeah, nope. Still haven't learned that.
All right, never mind.
Sam Bradford better with Matthews and Sproles in as his running backs. Screw DeMarco Murray, who needs him.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah. Roddy White and Andre Johnson should be in a nursing home and not on an NFL field.
I don't believe in the Roddy White part, though. I just can't believe they think Leonard Hankerson is better.
I don't know. And finally, the last thing I learned this week, the difference last year between a great Andrew Luck in 2014 and a terrible Andrew Luck in 2015, obviously, no Trent Richardson.
You're right, and all along.
That's what it is.
Oh, wow.
That's the difference.
Wow.
Just bring him back, guys. He's a free agent. Go grab him.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
There it is.
It's nothing to do with fact number 1, was it, that Andre Johnson should be in a nursing home?
Yeah, I mean,
could be that.
Could be.
There's a little correlation between both of those things, I think.
Reggie Wayne last year.
Playing the same team.
Reggie Wayne last year needed to be in a nursing home though too.
Yeah, but he might have been actually better than Andre Johnson.
Oh man! All right, let's jump into the preview here of the week 4 games. Starting off with tomorrow night's game, Ravens at Steelers. No Big Ben with his MCL sprain, so we get to see some Michael Vick. Matt, I got to tell you, I went back and watched Michael Vick's portion of this game, and I did not like what I saw. I'm really scared about this Pittsburgh offense with Michael Vick under center. All but 2 of his passes went to Le'Veon Bell. Just did not throw the ball to any of his receivers downfield. And when he did, one of those passes intended for Antonio Brown went right through the hands of a Rams cornerback. Should have been picked off. It was an easy pick, and I think even the Rams DB was surprised by it. Just looks really, really bad. At one point, you think Michael Vick, mobile quarterback, got sacked in 2 consecutive plays. Doesn't look good.
Yeah, and we're coming off a short week for a Thursday night game. As unprepared as he looked, and as unprepared as he admitted he was last year in his first start of the season, is Michael Vick just kind of collecting checks? We'll see. He talked about how this is possibly his last chance to get a start in the NFL, and certainly that's the truth. So this is, it's kind of like his last opportunity. But it's a reason that even though the Ravens have not been playing very good defense, they interest me in DFS GPPs because they're really inexpensive. FanDuel's at 4,300, and they're playing a Michael Vick who's coming off a short week, and didn't look great last week. So interesting to me.
I think you're nailing it. I mean, going back and watching Michael Vick, he looked really, really bad.
Yeah.
And like you said, GPPs, because the Steelers typically are a high-powered offense. I just don't think they'll be it with Michael Vick. Ravens side here, just a couple guys, one playing way over his head and the other playing terrible. First, Justin Forsett. God, I've been riding him the last 2 weeks in DFS for my cash games, and that hasn't turned out so well. I'd like seeing the 4 receptions a game, exactly that, 4 receptions every game, but less than 3.5 yards a reception. So he's getting the receptions, helping you out on those PPR DFSs like DraftKings, but other than that, he's just not getting the yards.
Yeah, Taliaferro didn't get his first carry in this game. Actually, I think his first snap in this game till 7 minutes and about 42 seconds left in the second quarter. But I'm telling you right now, I really think he looks like the best of the three with Allen, Forsett, and Taliaferro. The limited time out there, so tough to say. But in the short amount of attempts that he got, I feel like he may be looking like the better player. Forsett's definitely letting a lot of people down, but one guy that is just absolutely insane is Steve Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, this is... last year we early fell in love with him too, and can he sustain it at his age? That's a question, but right now he's feeling fresh, and he's playing almost as good as anybody out there. I mean, just insane. He's a beast. You wouldn't believe that he's a little guy. I mean, ripping through tackles, making some amazing plays.
He's, 36 years old?
35, 36. This is his going out
party. We just
party.
talked about Andre Johnson being in a nursing home and Steve Smith still tearing it up.
Yeah, he's
10 or more receptions, 150 or more receiving yards the last 2 games. I mean, realistically, who else are they going to throw to?
Yeah, no, Kamar Aiken is the number 2. That's why Perryman, it's a long way away from now. Whenever the hell he's going to get healthy again, nobody knows. But there's nobody else there in Baltimore.
No.
Kamar Aiken, literally the number 2 wide receiver in Baltimore. So, yeah, who else are they going to throw to? But I guess if you have no one else to throw to, it's pretty good to have a guy like Steve Smith as the guy to throw to.
One guy I do want to throw out here real quick for the Ravens. Crockett Gilmore obviously hurt, not going to play on Thursday night. Max Williams, 7 targets last week on just 38 snaps. So didn't play much, but got a crap ton of targets when he did play.
Yeah, we don't have anything. We don't have a lot to talk about with him right now. Just he hasn't gotten a whole lot of opportunity. This is kind of going to be his chance. We'll see. Early draft pick. What was he? A 3rd rounder. So, obviously there's something they like in him. We'll see what happens. But there's a lot of tight ends that I'm a little more interested in.
No, I know. I'm just maybe GPPs. That might be a good flyer pick. Good cheap guy. We got an early game on Sunday, and by early I mean like 9:30 Eastern time. This is going to be great.
Oh my God, that's
London
right.
Game. We get to basically wake up, have some breakfast, watch some football.
Incredible.
It's awesome. I love that. I just wish it was different teams than the Jets and the Dolphins.
I usually crack my first adult beverage for the first game of the day. Can't quite do that for the 9:30
you could.
kickoff.
You
could, but I guess it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Chris Ivory killed fantasy teams last week when he suited up and didn't play. Speaking of adult beverages, there it was.
No, it's just the Pepsi.
Yeah.
Seltzer water, because I'm healthy.
Chris Ivory didn't play last week. Do we expect him to play this week?
Yeah. I mean, he suited up. Interesting. What is Bowles doing? Has he ever heard of fantasy football? This is very important for the NFL. Cut the shit.
Yeah, that's
all right. He probably got a call about that. I'm telling you, fantasy's that big now. You don't do this shit to us. Who the hell does he think he is?
Just riot in New York.
I'm pissed. Yeah, I'll start. I'll make the signs right now if you want. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll expect it. The fact that he was active tells me he was pretty close. I'm playing him. I have to assume that he's going to be absolutely fine. I mean, absolutely fine. I shouldn't say that, but he's playing.
Yeah, I gotta think he does play this week. A guy that I'm still not too sure about, Eric Decker, didn't practice today. I just want to point out, last week, Jeremy Curley played at 90% of the snaps.
It's about time.
But had 11.
He got to play.
He had 11 targets. So there's that, I guess, if you want to...
Why did you even bother to point that out? I guess targets, we like to see opportunity.
90%,
I get it.
90% of the snaps, too. He's playing in the game. I mean, I guess...
game, because Decker was out. When Decker comes back...
Oh, yeah. I mean...
It's over. Plus,
Devin Smith hasn't played much.
Devin Smith got 9 targets as a rookie first game out of Ohio State. He's going to be the deep threat guy that hopefully eventually will become a little bit more part of the offense. But realistically, Marcus, before we get too excited about it, how many pass catchers are you going to like in a Jets offense?
Listen, I mentioned Devin Smith on Sunday morning when Decker was out. I mentioned him as a good GPP play because Devin Smith in college, huge yards per catch. I think it was close to like 30 yards per catch. He's a big play guy. And
not too hard to do that at Ohio State where you're just stacked with studs everywhere, though.
Sure, but
he's a good player, but...
Yeah, I mean, but if you're a big play guy and you're going to start opposite Brandon Marshall, it's not like you're going to see tough coverage. There's always that chance for that deep bomb.
There's no excitement for me because look at his track. Okay, fantasy, DFS, but I'm talking, I guess, full season right now.
Full season,
it's really hard for him to get relevant with two very good veteran wide receivers like that. He's not leaping anybody. Unless injuries happen.
Jarvis Landry on the Miami side of the ball here. 8 receptions, exactly 8 receptions in every game this year. This week, though, I think he has his work really cut out for him.
He's on a pitch count.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned you mentioned that, and I looked at his snap total. His snap total has actually gone down each of the last 3 weeks, which I thought was interesting. I mean, you're not benching Jarvis Landry if you have him, and
not at all.
You were playing him in DFS every week, except for I think this week because. You got Revis, you got Cromartie. I'm staying away from him, but just 8 receptions a game, consistent.
Yeah, great player. He does handle the punt returns for them too. That could be a little result in his down snap count. I mean, I guess he does it week to week, so the reason for the reduction from week to week is I'm not sure, but I think he's a guy that should be every time there's a split out guy, have him in there. He's their best receiver.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Devontae Parker,
is upticking.
You got to bring
targets,
him up. Yeah, I mean,
and snap counts and
targets. It's happening more and more. There was a lot of good talk coming out of Miami this week too, and you can't really glance over this whole wide receiver court because I think a lot of people are getting excited about Rashard Matthews, who's been, production this year.
Listen, Rashard
Matthews. He played in 27 snaps this week, if I remember. Can you look that up for me while I'm talking about it? So what I'm trying to say is the production is there. I mean, when he's out there, they're throwing him the ball as well. But Devontae Parker was drafted, I think, with the 12th pick overall for a reason. He's going to continue to kind of eat into the production of all these other guys. I think the only guy safe snap out count wise, no doubt, is Jarvis Landry.
Rashard Matthews made me some money this week in GPPs. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But he did play. He played in 40% of the snaps.
Yep.
I mean, 40 snaps.
40 snaps. Okay.
51% of the snaps.
Yep.
So yeah, it's low, but it's not. I mean, to be honest with you, the whole Miami receiving core was very spread out this week.
Yeah.
I mean, to give you an idea, Landry played in 60 snaps. Greg Jennings 47. Devontae Parker 42. Kenny Stills 41. Rashard Matthews 40.
Yep.
So
I think what's going to happen is you're going to see Parker more up with Landry as the
absolutely.
season is going on. So
absolutely, but
I don't think we can continue to count on Matthews like people may have been excited today when they picked him up on their waiver wire thinking.
Right.
That's all.
Absolutely.
So maybe sell high if he has another nice week is what I'm saying.
Jaguars at Colts. Andrew Luck. I don't know. Maybe I think something fundamentally has happened to him. I don't think he's the Andrew Luck of old. Last 6 games, 8 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
We talked about it. Trent Richardson's gone.
You go back even further, though. Even take his last 10 games, 14 touchdowns, 16 interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you take the interception side out of it, 14 touchdowns in 10 games for Andrew Luck?
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yep.
That's not what you're expecting. You're thinking, I'm starting Andrew Luck every week.
Yeah, I hear you. And the turnovers can't be just overlooked, and I think they are because this is a guy who came in with more hype than Michael Jordan. I mean, well, that's a bad one because he was like the 3rd pick in the draft, and So more hype than God. How about that? I mean, who else have you?
Sam Bowie.
Which quarterback coming out of the draft has come out with more hype than Andrew Luck in the last 10 years? I don't think there is one.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where his reputation is kind of making you overlook what the production has actually been. And
listen, I don't think it's the hype coming out of the draft and all that. He had a good couple of couple of seasons.
Yes.
And I think that's where the hype's coming from. And I think, to be honest with you, I had him higher than Aaron Rodgers coming into the season. I had him as quarterback. And
I
quickly
didn't, by the way.
He's quickly proving me wrong.
But buy low.
See, I
said, too good.
I said that last week and I got burned. He did not look good against Tennessee.
Yeah,
Jacksonville,
okay.
Jacksonville, another easy matchup.
Yeah. I don't know. Buy low. I still.
But seriously, how low are you buying on Andrew Luck? You're the Andrew Luck owner. What do you want in trade for him? You're still going to want quite a bit. I don't even think you can buy low on him.
You're probably right. You probably can't.
I mean, it's...
But you never know.
No.
You never know. Try.
Frank Gore is a guy that I like this week. Snaps have gone up every week, and game script should be in his favor. Frank Gore looked good last week. 2 touchdowns. I think we could see another 2 touchdowns in this game.
Robinson went from 10 carries week 2 to 3 in week 3. And Gore, like you said, had his best game as a Colt.
Yeah.
This is kind of more of what we expect. I was pretty high on him this preseason. This is more of what I expected all along. But this whole team hasn't really been performing what I was thinking.
Josh Robinson's also seen his snap count dip quite a bit last week. He was going from 27% week 1, week 2 to 13% in week 3.
I was good on the 10 and the 3, right?
I don't know.
I'd put money on it. How's that? So, the whole offense has been a letdown, and I mean, obviously, it centers around Andrew Luck. I think he'll pick it up. And Gore, he looks good to me.
Yeah, he looks young again. He looks good. Jaguar side, not a whole lot I want to talk about here, but Indianapolis is allowing the 5th most yards per catch, so they're allowing big plays to receivers. My boy Allen Hurns. I've been on Allen Hurns in GPPs and even in a couple of my cash games when I needed a cheap guy. And Allen Hurns, 60 yards or more in every game this season. So, got a 59-yard touchdown against the Patriots. Just saying.
Yeah, my boy Marquise Lee, too, hurt yet again. So
he's just permanently hurt.
One thing I wanted to bring... We should
give him the nickname Band-Aid.
Yeah, he's it's ridiculous. I know Hearns was struggling today in practice. I don't remember. I read the practice report on it. So just keep an eye on it. I think he's going to be fine, but just keep an eye on it.
Giants at Bills. LaShawn McCoy still dealing with his hamstring issues. Carlos Williams quietly has had a touchdown in every game this season. Hurt or not, LaShawn McCoy's snaps have gone down every week. And I was surprised by this. You would think with McCoy's snap percentage going down every week, you'd see a rise from Carlos Williams. Carlos Williams pretty steady as far as snap count percentage goes. Giants 24th, have allowed the 24th most points to opposing running backs, the 24th against running back, I should say. Carlos Williams, your number 10 overall running back.
Yeah, and I love him this week if McCoy's going to be out, which the early reports are. GPP.
No, cash.
A lot of people are going to be GPP, so yeah,
no, cash too. He's going to be
everything,
close to min salary. He's going to be...
He's 6,300 on FanDuel. A little bit more. Yeah. I wanted to bring up one more thing about the Jaguars game before I patted my back earlier. I got to say sorry for TJ Yeldon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people that were on I was on TJ Yeldon. On
a couple of my leagues. It was just the game flow did not work out. I thought the Jaguars could keep a little closer, but this is just the slaughter that the Patriots have been doing.
I said then we remembered it's the Jaguars and it is the Patriots.
But I still thought he'd get involved in the passing game a little more, so I'm sorry. But moving back to the other game, we glanced over that, and if we're gonna clap at ourselves every once in a while, we should talk about the bad calls.
Tyrod Taylor. Dude's a stud. I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
My only question for you is better nickname, Ty God or T-Mobile? Because
I like T-Mobile. Ty God's no. T-Mobile's
Tyrod,
great.
Ty God.
Yeah. I get it. Thanks. Explain it again.
All right.
Like Tyrod sounds like Ty. No, I like T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. I mean,
although he hasn't been running as much as I was hoped. I was hoping.
He's been as you hoped.
As I was hoped.
As I was hoped. All right. Bills, a touchdown favorite in this one. I think the Giants are going to have to pass the ball quite a bit here. Sneaky play for me, Shane Vereen. And honestly, I don't even know how sneaky he is because Shane Vereen quietly has played the most snaps of any Giants running back this year. And it's not even that close. He has 24 more snaps than Rashard Jennings.
Yeah, he's definitely the guy to play in that backfield if you want to play anybody.
I just think, held without a catch last week for the first time in like a year and a half. They're going to be down in this game. He's going to be in there. He's going to catch some passes. All those reasons, too, I like ODB. They're going to be down in this game. They're going to have to throw. ODB.
Yeah. Victor Cruz re-aggravated the calf.
I was going to say he came out with his little video, I'm returning week 4, and you get all pumped for him and suffered that setback today in practice.
And I'm not laughing about it. That's a bummer. But Ruben Randall.
Yeah, Randall, I didn't know if you know this. I looked it up today, the snap counts. Randall has played over 90% of the snaps this year.
Yeah, and now
getting a lot of playing time.
With Cruz not back, you're going to get another nice week out of him. One more week of production. Maybe a little more because of the setback. We don't know how long it could hold him out.
I'm going to be really interested to see how ODB plays when Cruz is back. Because I think they only played one game last year together, and ODB had like 40 yards receiving or something like that, if I remember right.
Yeah, well.
It was his first game,
What's
though.
the sample
It was his
size?
first
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it was one game.
Nobody knew what he was yet.
I think it's going to be interesting
to see.
But
that first game, actually, now that we're talking about it,
let's put it this way. The first game Cruz is back, I will be off ODB in daily because of that uncertainty.
That first game, even though there was limited production, the next week is the week I was talking about how ODB I thought was going to be a superstar because you could just see it. So that's what happened. They saw it, and oh my God.
I don't know if they saw it that first week, but
they did.
Cruz got hurt that second week.
Yep.
So that kind of opened the door too.
Yeah, that's true.
Panthers at Bucks. I tweeted this out earlier this week. I was very surprised by this. Mike Tolbert has outtouched Jonathan Stewart in the red zone 8-4. Twice as many red zone touches.
Why were you surprised by that?
That's
what he's always been.
I didn't
there,
but not quite that much. It was always kind of like almost an even keel with the two of them. And
where's Cam in that whole thing? Over both?
I don't have the Cam stats, but Cam has run the ball a lot in the red zone as well. But
he's their goal line back.
I guess that's what I'm getting at is Jonathan. I've never been a Jonathan Stewart guy, and if he's losing red zone carries to Cam Newton and now quite a bit to Mike Tolbert, how excited can you get about Jonathan Stewart?
He's still...
and this is a great matchup for him, so don't get me wrong. This is a great matchup. I'm just off him. I don't know.
You can't see me, but quotation marks, bell cow still. You know what I mean? He's the only guy getting most of the work. It's too bad that you lose a lot of those goal line opportunities. We skipped over the Bills, too. Just keep in mind, Watkins will probably not be playing this week. Came out today. Head coach said it, so...
Yeah, let me bring up real quick the Jonathan Stewart stats here, because he's the bell cow. 18 carries week 1, 17 week 2, 14 week 3, but 56 yards rushing, 62 yards rushing, 52 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Bad. Just not. And that's including games against teams like Jacksonville and the Saints. Like, teams you can run on.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been able to do it. I don't know. Makes me nervous.
I'm not nervous because, like I said, what is it? Easier running back 2 flex, so...
Matt, we're spending too much time on Jonathan Stewart because I know you want to talk about your boy Ted Ginn.
Hey, good call by me, right? You're talking
that's
number one.
That's the extent of you wanting to talk about him. Hey,
number one target getter there behind Olsen.
Target getter?
Yeah, target getter.
Did you hope that he would be the biggest target getter?
Target getter. Like I said, someone's got to be a number one wide receiver. It's him.
Yeah, it is him. Well, yeah, for wide receiver, yes.
You texted me while watching the game. This is one I haven't rewatched yet. He was missed on what? You said, what was it? You texted me about a 40, 50-yard bomb?
Yeah.
And so what could it have been? It could have been a 5
day.
It could have been a 5 reception, 130, 40-yard day with a touchdown. So yeah.
He was wide open.
Listen, he dropped a touchdown week 1, a touchdown week 2, week 3. Cam missed him, but he still put up 91 yards for you. You're talking a number one guy that's extremely explosive.
Yeah. No,
Hopefully you listened to me last week.
Pick him up if he's still on your waiver wire. Bucks side, I don't want to talk about any Bucks.
I do. Mike Evans. Targets, please look him up for me.
Yeah, no, he's
17, was it?
He sure. Yeah.
That's all. It's a bad team that's going to be throwing a lot, and he is a physical freak. I like him. So
I just
go get him now if you can, because he only scored 11 points if you're in standard leagues.
I don't think you're going to be able to. It's not like you're buying low on the guy. He's been hurt.
Yeah, maybe.
The owner's going to have liked him. And
you don't know.
Likes him still.
You try to act like you know what everybody in the planet Earth thinks, so try it.
Sure.
Because his value is only going to get harder to get.
There's always
getting him is only going to be harder.
There's one idiot in every league. In our league, it's Druin.
Go talk to him. Rob Druin, who's not here again, by the way. And from now on, whenever he's here, he's just a special guest from deep in the past. Rob Druin.
We should what we should get? We should get a podcast helmet and really make him a special guest.
Yeah. He doesn't need the helmet.
Eagles at Redskins. Matt Jones or Alfred Morris?
Matt Jones.
Yeah, already. I'm avoiding it, but if I can't,
Matt Jones.
If I can't avoid it, I guess it's Matt Jones. I can't get excited about the Redskins offense.
So this is another one. I'm sorry. Remember, I called them both an RB2 last week, but I said the split's here to stay, and it's already here. Last week was tough. We were talking. We could have been talking about a much different day for him if he didn't have that fumble at the goal line. That's what makes it interesting to me, because maybe Gruden is going to take it back a notch and, hey, rookie, you got to hold on to the ball, make them learn from it. But I think if you still have anybody in your league that believes in Morris, I think you need to go get rid of him, and hopefully you're getting 70% on the dollar.
We talked about it last week. Morris is in a contract year.
Yep. He's
getting phased out. It's
and he's not, I don't think he's watching him run. I mean, put him in some shorts, run drills. Definitely Jones is the better looking player. Alfred has that it factor, and I'll give it to him. The vision is there. He seems to always produce. It's surprising to me he's losing his job, but I think it's Matt Jones.
G-Jack's still not practicing. Revenge game factor. Just wanted to bring that up. The other thing I just wanted to bring up real quick, too. Pierre Garçon, quietly 5 receptions or more in every game this season. He's back. I mean, he hasn't had the touchdown. He hasn't had the big yards, but he's been consistent. I kind of like him for cash games, especially in this week where against the Eagles, up-tempo game, should see more plays, should see more targets. DeMarco Murray should be back for this one. I think I'm avoiding the Philadelphia backfield because I think it's going to be a crazy mess.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was worried about when I was never too high on Murray this year. Matthews is a solid player when he's healthy, and obviously Sproles does what he does. Plus, the best game we've seen out of the backfield came this week, and it was not from Murray. I'm not talking points-wise, but just production, yards per carry. I'm saying it now, and actually, if you don't believe me, listen to LaDainian Tomlinson, who is a Hall of Fame to be running back, so he probably has a good idea. Matthews fits better in this system than DeMarco Murray.
If I had thought about it more, because I remember texting you Sunday morning when we heard that DeMarco was going to be out, if I should get Matthews into some of my DFS. And I should have thought about it more and realized, you know what? They paid him for a reason. They paid him for this. If DeMarco's out, he's their guy. This is what they paid him for. They're going to use him.
Yep. Yep, and you could have played both of them. Him and Sproles. They both had a nice week.
Yeah, both cheap plays. Speaking of cheap plays, just real quick, just want to touch on this. Nelson Aguilar played in 93% of the snaps last week, the most of any Philadelphia wide receiver. He didn't have a catch, but he had 4 targets. It's coming, guys. I think it's coming. He's a guy.
He needs to come soon because he's done nothing.
Exactly, but I think he's a guy you could really buy low on. And I think it's coming. I think once Bradford gets his shit together,
all right,
he's playing in a lot of snaps. It's going to happen. Finally, in your kicker note of the day, the Eagles placed Cody Parkey on IR. So if you're looking to roster the Eagles kicker, Caleb Sturgis. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, just so you don't make that DFS mistake and
just
put Cody Parkey in.
Put Cody Parkey in. I mean, Cody Parkey has been a staple of the Eagles kicking game.
Yep.
Just wanted to touch on that.
Hard-hitting analysis on the pod today.
Okay, kickers, yeah.
Who else gives you that kind of news?
Yeah. Raiders at Bears. Alshon Jeffrey expected to return in this one. I don't know how excited you're getting about Jimmy Clausen-led Bears.
Yeah, 80 yards passing last week.
Not excited about that. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm all in on all the Raiders this week.
Fuck yeah!
That feels really weird to say.
God, I just swore again. There's no need. It doesn't add to anything, and it just might get us in trouble.
With your mom?
No. What the iTunes someday. I think we're in the PG section.
Yeah, whatever.
If there's even a PG section.
So Derek
uh,
Carr, Amari Cooper, Latavius Murray, I like all of them. And Michael Crabtree. Crabtree's getting a shit ton of targets.
Crabtree.
All the Raiders this week.
Crabtree had 2 red zone targets this week. He also had a reception call back on a penalty on a teammate. Crabtree.
If you can't tell, he's reading his notes right now.
He looked worse in the box score than he did if you rewatch the game. He was still involved more than you may think.
He had a lot of targets. He's been getting a lot of targets. He's been very involved in the offense. And
I actually went through this game just because I've been in love with Amari Cooper since the preseason. I talked about the preseason game when he just ate up Peterson from the Arizona Cardinals, and watching this game again, Hayden, another guy who's supposed to be, one of the lockdown corners in the NFL. I got 4 instances when they were match up 1-on-1 that Cooper just ate him alive. It's the kid is so talented. So talented. If you can go get him in a trade right now that isn't just crazy, you know what I mean? Like I want to go get him right now expecting him to produce even more than he already has this year.
I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise because we knew last year that Derek Carr throws the ball a lot. But Michael Crabtree and Amari Cooper in the top 13 in the NFL in targets. Both of them.
Yeah. And this happened last year. This is a nice young offense that I think will continue to just get better as the season goes on as well.
Absolutely.
And if you're a Latavius Murray owner, you're pumped. He's a part of what I think is going to be a pretty damn good offense. And he's been producing too. And he's a guy that pretty much stays on the field. They'll use him in third down situations. They don't need to really take him out unless they give him a quick rest. So, yeah, Marcus, you're right. Start every Raider against this defense, no doubt.
And start every tight end going against Oakland.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yep. And although it's Jimmy Clausen throwing him the football.
It's so tough, though. Knowing it's Jimmy Clausen.
As bad as he is, he's going to try to stay underneath routes. He threw for 80 yards last week, and where's Martellus going to be? Where have they been getting eaten up in Oakland?
Yeah. Eifert, Gilmore, and Gary
Barnidge, who we brought it up last week. Hopefully you listen to us, because if they're playing the Raiders, that tight end needs to be started. DFS, I don't care where you are.
Honestly,
Gary Barnidge looked like the best tight end in the NFL last week.
What opened all this up to me was when you and I watched the Eifert plays week 1, and you could just see how it wasn't Eifert, it was just how wide open he was. How they just let him roam and stand there.
And we don't have a research department here either, but anybody that wants to go out there, I challenge you, shoot us a tweet, give us the stats. How about that? Go look to the history of Del Rio-led teams.
As far as what? Who cares?
Against tight ends. Yeah. He's the coach in Oakland. That's what I'm talking about. What do you mean? What are you confused where he is?
Oakland just can't defend a tight end.
And Del Rio never has. So, yeah. This isn't just like a quick fluke of 3 games, I think.
Texans at Falcons. Arian Foster game time decision here. Falcons are allowing the most points to opposing running backs this season. So, if he plays, he's a top, back for you? Top 10 easily. Maybe top 7? He's got to be.
Yeah, because he's been saying is he's coming back when he's 100%, right?
Oh, he's going to come back and he's going to play. I mean, last year...
No, he's not. He's an old man. There's no way he's going to come back and play immediately 85% of the snaps. Is he? I don't think that's smart if you're Houston.
Last year, when he, under a similar situation, missed a couple games...
Similar situation, he tore a groin muscle off his bone.
At the beginning of the season last year, I believe he missed a couple of games for a hamstring. His first game back, he had 13 carries and 8 receptions, if I'm not incorrect.
Yep.
The 8 receptions stuck out to me in his first game back, and I said, holy cow, they really wanted to keep him involved.
Yeah. I'm not as excited for this week if he plays as the next week. I just want another week of I just got to see it, but because I don't know what his production will be there. He's when he plays, he produces, but I just don't know how much work he'll definitely get, especially coming off an Alfred Blue week of studliness. I mean, he looked good this week.
Please don't tell me you think Foster is tied in any way to Alfred Blue's.
In his first week back, I think, yes, ease the old man in. He just ripped a groin muscle off his bone. Those hurt. I've never done it, but I imagine.
Matt, how do you have the most offensive snaps on your team and not even record a target? That's what Roddy White did last week. His second straight game without a reception. Yikes.
I don't get it.
How do you play that many snaps and don't even have a target?
With your quarterback
Him and
that
Matt
you
Ryan
played with,
must just hate each other right now.
did Roddy White have sex with Matt Ryan's wife?
What? Why is it
Oh
always gonna
my
come down to that?
God. Because what else would do this? They've been playing together for 10 years, 8 years. It's weird. I didn't know he played that many snaps. That's news to me.
The most on the team.
That's insane.
The most.
Yeah. There's something else going on here. Unless
So,
he's
I mean,
unless they're calling him the fourth read in every single route. I don't get it.
Listen, when I first went to go look this up, I assumed, no targets, the whole Leonard Hankerson thing. Hankerson is obviously stealing some playing time from Roddy White, and that wasn't the case. I was very surprised by it. To give you the full stats, Roddy White 65 snaps, Julio Jones 60, and Leonard Hankerson 48. He had the most snaps. It's Matt Ryan than him.
Don't drop him yet. Then give him one more week.
I
was just about to drop him.
How?
Now I'm not going to.
How? I don't get. I don't. I mean, let's go back and look at week 2, because week 2 he didn't have a catch either, and he played in 57 out of 72 snaps. He was second on the team behind only Julio, who had 59.
Wow.
So he's playing.
Here's what I want to. I want to get the coach's film out and just watch. Is he just not creating any separation?
Maybe he's just.
Is he done? Is he Andre Johnson 2.0?
Maybe Andre Johnson and him and just hanging out in that nursing home together, like I said at the beginning of the podcast. Another really unsexy thing I want to talk about is Nate Washington. Yeah. That makes you excited, doesn't it?
No, because we talked last week that I thought it was Cecil Shorts.
Well, Nate Washington has played 90% of his team's offensive snaps this year, has had at least 8 targets in every game, and is currently 17th in the NFL in targets.
Wow. What are they thinking?
Just think about that. If I take names out of the situation for a second, and if I just told you I have an NFL receiver that's getting 90% of the snaps, is 17th in the NFL in targets, and is getting at least 8 targets a game.
He's a wide receiver 2 at worst.
And he's on your waiver wire, you'd be like, sign me up.
Yeah, fab budget, how much? I don't know.
And then I would tell you Nate Washington, and you'd run away.
Insane.
Just saying. I'm not saying go out and get him. It's just interesting.
Yeah. That's going to trend the other way.
It's got to.
He can't continue to be as bad as he is and produce what he's been producing, which, nice week 1, but...
Chiefs at Bengals. Marvin Lewis comes out and says that Jeremy Hill is still the lead back and played in just 25 snaps to Gio Bernard's 51. He's tough to trust right now, but I think this has to do a lot with game flow for me. You're shaking your head no.
No, I watched this whole game. Jeremy Hill got the start. I'll give him that. But the thing is it's okay. Marvin Lewis also said that when they're behind, Gio is the starter. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay,
yeah.
So
pay attention.
So it's virtually a split when they're not behind, and then when we're behind, it's Gio's game. So how do you call that the lead back?
So you're telling me the rest of the season you'd rather have Gio? 5 red zone touches for Jeremy Hill.
I'm not. Did I tell you that? Did I?
No,
I didn't say that.
I'm asking.
No, you should have said. So let me ask you then.
I said
not you're telling me because no, I didn't say that. You put words in my mouth. I didn't say that.
All right.
All I said was that I can't believe that they're calling him the lead back. I think maybe he's their first and second down guy. Gio's their third down back who also gets basically alternating almost first and second down reps as well. And then if they're ever losing, it's Gio's job. So how do you call Jeremy your lead back? He's not. It's impossible.
It's coach speak.
That's all it is. And Jeremy Hill he's
Rest of the season, which one do you want?
Rest of the season,
Hill.
I want Hill.
For me, it's Hill.
Right now.
Yeah.
But if I see another week like this again,
No.
because game flow, this game was close most of the game. This was a last drive, Ravens had a chance to win game. So game flow, I mean, where's that excuse? Is that just fantasy analyst talk who may not have watched the game? I mean, trust me, game flow was not, you can't use that for this game. It was a close game most of the way. It was back and forth the whole time. It's coach talk. I agree with you there. I just don't. He's the goal line guy, sure, but is he going to be really goal line? Yes, but red zone, I don't know, because Gio is just a quicker. He's better out of the backfield, better in space. Trade Jeremy Hill quickly if you can still get 85% of the money. I think you can because of the name.
You know what's really worrying me when I look at the snap count right now? Andy Dalton, multiple touchdowns in 3 games in all 3 games this season. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, before the pod, we were talking for like a half an hour, and eventually I was like, why don't we just go to the pod?
Yeah.
Because we talked about this. You're struggling right now. You got Breeze.
I got Breeze.
You need a quarterback. Dalton's been good. You know damn well when you pick him up this week, he's going to have his Andy Dalton, right? So
you know he's going to have no touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
He's been in the league so long
probably.
that we kind of know what he is. Can he continue to do what he's doing? He's got some weapons to throw to. Marvin Jones looked really good this week. We all know what A.J. Green can do. Marvin Sanu as a third wide receiver is a very good player. Yeah, sorry, Mohamed Sanu. And then you got Tyler Eifert. I mean, 2 good, solid running backs as well. So it's just maybe the pieces are finally all in place. He's been in the league long enough. But I swear, you pick him up this week, he's going to score your 9-point Andy Dalton game.
Yeah.
But if he does it again, when do we start really believing? He's a number 3 quarterback in standard scoring right now, 4-point touchdown pass. So it's, when are you going to believe in it?
I don't know. I don't know. Tough to trust. Chief, do you anything on the Chiefs side you want to go over before we move on?
I want to talk about Eifert first, real quick, for all the Eifert owners out there that are worried. First play, I mean, zero receptions. Put up a big goose egg for all of us. But when I rewatched this game, I went from, oh my God, I might be wrong on Tyler Eifert looking at the box score, to he was still very involved.
By very involved, you mean 3 targets?
Eifert was interfered in the red zone on a likely touchdown penalty that's not considered a target. He would have scored. It was an interference. The next play, he was the first option and double-teamed. That was the touchdown for Andy Dalton on the scramble. He had to go away from his option, and he scored. He had another 20-yard catch called back the next drive.
So maybe it's really closer to 6 targets, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
if
6.
If all these plays...
But then the touchdown that was called back from Tyler Eifert, ESPN wrote a headline article on their front page about how the NFL needs to fix their catch rules.
Yeah.
He caught the ball and then went over the goal line, but because he didn't finish completing the catch they called, going to the ground with it, it was a no catch. But it was a catch. I mean, he possessed it. He made a move to the end zone and crossed the goal line. That should be a touchdown. I mean, so trust me, all I'm trying to say is don't worry about the Eifert 0 for 0. Go get him if you can. If somebody's really worried, he was very involved still.
Browns at Chargers.
And Marvin Jones, we both like him, right? If
A.J.
Green goes down, he's a very talented player who becomes a nice pickup.
Yeah.
So,
Browns at Chargers. Chargers are at home, favored heavily in this game by 9 points. Melvin Gordon. I want to like him because they're finally a heavy favorite where they could grind the clock out with him at home in the second half. I mean, Danny Woodhead had 8 red zone touches in week 1, and since then has only had 1. Weeks 2 and 3 combined. I want to like Melvin Gordon against the Browns, who are 26th against the running back this season. However, Gordon has only played in 43% of their snaps this season.
What is Woodhead's snap count? I don't have the notes on this in particular stat, but I'm almost positive that his snap count and touches have gone down from week 1, 2, and then 3.
They've gone from 53% to 51 to 46.
So minimal, I guess. It's I guess, yeah,
negligible.
But I still think that if you have Melvin, you're not dropping him. Maybe you're not. It depends what other options you have. You're probably going to have to play him. I still think he is a buy low guy that is going to have a much better second half of the season. Because for the eye test for me, he just looks really good.
He looks good.
And they played a tough defense.
Sure. I got nothing to add to that. I expect more from him, but I think this might be the game where he starts to get it. It's kind of the LeGarrette Blount thing from last week.
Yeah.
Game flow should have him in a good position this week. I also want to point out, too, the Browns have allowed 2 passing touchdowns in every game this season, and 5 of those 6 touchdowns have gone to wide receivers.
Yeah.
So, Keenan Allen, Stevie Johnson, both of my radar.
And Hayden is so overrated. I'm sorry.
He has been this year, that's for sure.
Plus, he's banged up.
Chargers second best against opposing wide receivers, but I know Matt wants to talk about his other boy, Travis Benjamin.
Well, we chatted. We always shoot and text back and forth, and you were the one that first pointed me out to it. I watched the game, but I didn't have the numbers in front of me, so I'm texting you as this game is going on. Hey, this kid is he's their number 1 receiver. When there's a split end, he's in the game almost every single play. You responded with, actually his snap count is almost, doubled, tripled this week.
It was way higher this week. More snaps, more routes, way more targets.
He was, if you rewatch this game, he was the number 1 receiver for Cleveland. He's also a guy that is extremely talented, and this is what really got me excited about him. And even though it was plays that weren't, the 50-yard bombs, the punt returns, they're not things that are going to be always easy to replicate, but just seeing the production that he had in his minimal attempts, you got to think that the coaches that will go watch the film again, they see it as well. And they did, obviously, because this week he was their number 1 wide receiver. And he kind of let us down. He had a 9-point game, but he scored another touchdown. It was a 10-point game. He scored another touchdown and stayed in the scoring. He scored another touchdown, plus there was another play that would have been I think I was texting you about it. It was like a 70-yard bomb that he was missed by a yard, and it's really hard to overthrow this guy, so that doesn't happen often. If that happened, we're talking a 2-touchdown game with another 130-yard performance. Just a number 1 guy. You look for these situations where there's nobody's established, and that's why I liked him.
In fairness,
and this week it happened. You need to see this stuff before it happens if you want to get him.
In fairness, he's a big play guy, so there's always going to be what ifs.
Yeah, but
it's kind of like the Ted Ginn thing. Is always going to be those what ifs.
And you said that last week, but now that he acted like a number 1, you got to like him more than you did. You do.
I like the absolutely. I like the targets. I like that he was in for more snaps.
By the way, his touchdown was on a slant route. Interesting.
Yeah. Finally, last note I wanted to put up here. You can run on the Chargers. 387 rushing yards allowed and 4 rushing touchdowns to running backs this season. So, Crowell, Duke Johnson, flip a coin, and there's your guy.
Duke had 6 receptions this week for
Duke led
the first time. He was basically the third down back, which is what we thought he was very good at.
He led their team. He led their running backs in snaps.
Yep. And the third down domination, too, was kind of what you thought was going to happen sooner. So interesting, just got to keep an eye on this situation, although is it just going to continue to stay first and second Crowell, third with a little sprinkled in Duke?
Packers at...
And does it matter?
Packers at 49ers, all the James Jones in this game.
Yeah, and because Devontae is looking like he may be out again.
Yeah, he's going to be out. James Jones touchdown in every game this season. The 49ers have allowed 28 receptions, 547 yards, and 4 touchdowns to opposing wide receivers over the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Yep. Holy cob, too.
Yeah, no.
I mean, either one of those guys.
Absolutely.
Are you kidding me?
Cobb is obviously on there too. James Jones, obviously, just lower priced, a little bit better value probably there. But both of those guys, I want all of them.
And don't be worried about Rodgers. Yes, they're probably going to win by 712 points, but someone's going to have to score those first 600 before he comes out.
That sounds accurate. 712 is accurate. Listen here, the 49ers also terrible against the run. 54 rushing attempts for 229 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs over the last 2 weeks. Matt, you know what the funny thing is? You know why I only went back the last 2 weeks on both of those stats?
No.
Because week 1, they played your Vikings, who sucked.
Yeah.
And totally threw that off.
Yeah.
But those other 2 weeks, all the points to the wide receivers, all the points to the running backs.
Yeah.
Start everybody against the 49ers.
Yeah, they bottled up Adrian Peterson. It was an interesting week 1 that they will never replicate again. They're horrible. Colin Kaepernick just had about the worst game that any quarterback in the modern era has ever had.
Speaking of which, I think that's a good transition over to Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde had a great week 1 because the 49ers actually had game flow in their favor. Yep. They were actually leading that game. And I don't think we're going to see that very much out of the 49ers this year.
Yeah, and so when I was super pumped about top 12 and you were not, your reasons weren't because they were this bad, but it's hard to be a super stud running back when you're on a team that I think is this bad. Because they looked okay week 1. I mean, the Vikings are a trendy pick. A lot of people like them. Not just me this year, which is interesting and kind of exciting, but you didn't expect them to be this bad, right?
I don't think the problem with Carlos Hyde is being bad. He's not playing. Believe it or not, he's not playing. Week 2, 50% of the snaps. Week 3, 59%.
Week 2 injury though.
Sure. So let's go with that for a second. But Mike,
so how banged up was he for week 3? Davis, bring it up, but Bush is coming back this week. Probably.
I'm just saying, 59% of the snaps for Hyde in a healthy week.
Yep. Yeah,
and
he's not doing the third down work.
Meanwhile, Mike Davis, 46% of the snaps week 2 and 37 week 3. Mike Davis is playing.
Yeah, and Bush is coming back.
That's a clear 60-40 split.
Yeah, because of game flow. That I'll give game flow to.
Right, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. That the 49ers are not going to have a positive game flow very often.
Outlook isn't there for Hyde like I thought it would be.
So that brings up a good point. Buy low on Reggie Bush. If he's going to play 40-45% of the time.
Yeah, and I can tell you what, those 3 touches that he got in Minnesota week 1, he looked like he was still 25-year-old Reggie Bush. But
I'm just saying, you could probably buy low.
Not much to look at, that's all.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah, because he's going to take Davis' snaps. He's going to get 40% of the snaps when he's back, most likely.
And the Reggie Bush owner...
I like it.
The Reggie Bush owner isn't sitting there going, man, he got injured the first week. Carlos Hyde's a stud. You know, that's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Just saying. Rams at Cardinals. CJ 2K blew up for 150 total yards and 2 touchdowns as we go back in time and revisit 2008.
And he kind of looked good, too, doing it.
Matt, you clearly like David Johnson, but Ellington should be back this week. They called Ellington actually 50-50 for this week.
Yeah, so I don't know about should be.
But Arian says CJ2K to get 15 to 20 touches this week. To cut back to a week ago when I kept talking about...
My computer just locked here. So do me a favor and get on RotoWorld to read the exact quote, because I think you missed a lot of it. I think he said he's going to expect him to get 15 to 20 touches going forward. Bruce Arians. By he, I mean Bruce Arians. So
I can't go back that far. That's too much work for me.
No, you just got to go to Teams, click Arizona, figure it out. So what? And I'll talk for a few minutes. Okay.
No one wants to hear you talk, man. I'm just kidding.
It's just an interesting quote. He said 15 to 20 touches. I think going forward, meaning like not week 4, but like this season. So me, this chair's falling apart. I put on a few pounds.
Jesus Christ.
So me, the ever-loving David Johnson owner, I'm looking at that as, really? CJ2K to get 15 to 20 touches per game the rest of the season? I like that for my David Johnson. But CJ2K looked good.
Bottom line, this is going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess that I don't want a part of.
I think you're right. Yep.
Another mess I don't want a part of is the Rams' offense. Arizona's defense is just too good. They are 3rd best against quarterbacks, 10th best against running backs, 4th best against wide receivers, and 5th best against tight ends.
Yeah, and don't worry
All
about
set.
Todd Gurley's going to be good. Trust me.
He'll be good, just not in this game.
Right, yeah.
Moving on.
After another horrible week this week, go trade for Todd Gurley. Think about the Todd Gurley owner. Held him all this time.
Yeah.
Does nothing in the first week back. He's going to suck this week. Go get him.
Vikings at Broncos. C.J. Anderson under 30 rushing yards in every game this season. Does he finally buck the trend against your Vikings that can't stop anybody?
Can't stop anybody. What do you mean? Week 1, they got lit up. They haven't been touched since then. Thank you very much. 168 yards to hide week 1 to that weird week 1 49er team that we will never see again. Week 2, I think Abdullah finished with like 9 yards rushing to Bell's roughly the same.
88 yards rushing last week against San Diego's running backs.
Yeah, so I'd say that's pretty damn good when you're talking a whole running back core.
So they shut down Joik Bell and Amir Abdullah.
And Melvin Gordon and Danny Woodhead. And I think this team is better than... What the hell's the matter? They can't stop anybody? You just said that. 2 out of the 3 weeks, they've been awesome. So, yeah, the Vikings have a very good defense. And get ready for Demaryius Thomas to get shut down by my boy Xavier Rhodes, who looks to be playing again after I thought he may have died in week 3.
Yes.
We chat throughout the week, remember that? And I thought I thought his neck got broken in half, but it was just he got knocked out cold. He's back though. I think he's gonna be back.
Peterson getting crazy red zone touches. Tough to like any of the Vikings in this one because I think the Broncos have one of the best defenses in the league, and game script clearly not going to be in their favor in this game. Peterson involved in the run obviously in the passing game, so.
You love Peterson regardless.
If you got him in season-long leagues, you're playing him, but in daily, I'm staying away.
I'm still GPPing him because I think a lot of people are going to have that thought, and he's too good.
Sure, and that's what you do.
And he's going to stay involved in the passing game, too. Plus...
And in GPPs, you do that. You find the
game flow my ass. Bring it, Peyton Manning. We pressure the quarterback in Minnesota. We have great linebackers to cover. We have a good defense, very good defense. I'm not worried about Peyton Manning and those ducks he's been throwing.
Matt, Charles Johnson didn't practice today because of his rib injury.
Jarius Wright is out 1 to 2 weeks.
Well, I was going to say, Charles Johnson played in just 16 snaps on Sunday, and believe it or not, he's 4th on the team in targets behind Jarius Wright.
Yeah, Johnson was banged up early in the game, though. He lost a lot of time because of that. But also, with Jarius Wright and him out this week, I'm just...
Cordero?
No.
Are we going to see a Cordero sighting?
I think we're going to see a Stephon Diggs sighting. Not that I care in any kind of fantasy aspect, but I like that kid. I really do. Just a name to put away.
Listen,
other names I've given you, Latavius Murray.
Take the homerism aside for a second.
Yep.
Broncos defense.
It's good. Very good. Our defense is great, too. So I'm excited for this game.
No Charles Johnson.
The Vikings are going to win. No Charles Johnson like we've needed him at all. What has he done?
Right. But I'm just saying, no Charles Johnson, no Jarius Wright. Bridgewater's look like total crap.
He doesn't look like crap. He just hasn't been asked to do anything. Kyle Rudolph.
He's asked to win games. He can't do that.
What do you mean? We're 2-1.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Last week, his interception was after a play that poor Kyle Rudolph dropped a 40-yard touchdown pass literally in his gut. Like, you and I would have caught it 10 out of 11 times. And he dropped it. Then the very next play was a...
I like how you did the 10 out of 11.
I didn't do 9 out of 10 because it's better than that.
I was going to say.
That's what I'm saying.
I like how you did the 10 out of 11 instead of 9 out of 10.
I'm telling you. I mean,
was interesting.
If he caught that ball, we're talking about a Kyle Rudolph 12-point day, roughly. We're talking about a touchdown for Teddy with no interception because the next play was an interception to Charles Johnson, who, by the way, if you saw the play, what the heck? He's horrible. Get him out of the game. We were all wrong on him.
I was never wrong on Charles Johnson. I did not like.
You didn't? Okay,
I did not.
I did.
Charles Johnson.
I did, and I was really wrong. I was wrong.
Charles Johnson. I told you this beginning of the season. He had similar stats to Allen. I think it was like Allen Robinson going into the season, where they both had like you didn't really see where the hype was coming from. I mean, they had a couple of nice flashes, but that was really it. Cowboys and Saints. Joseph Randle, 3 touchdowns. McFadden, a touchdown. Lance Dunbar, 10 for 100 receiving last week. All the Dallas running backs getting work. I think, honestly, when I looked at the snap count, they were all getting about a third of the snaps. I mean, Randall's the one you want to own because when he's playing, he's getting the touches, but they're all getting enough work that it's making it very difficult.
Yeah, Randall had probably the ugliest 3-touchdown game you'll ever see.
I think it was Matt Harmon that tweeted out his carries and how the yardage broke up, and it was like 37 yards, 26 yards, 25 yards, 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard, -1,
yeah,
2,
yeah,
0,
exactly.
0, 1,
But
2. Like it was all.
Nobody cares in fantasy football because God, did he blow up?
Saints side, presumably no Breeze. I don't know if he plays.
Hey, Brandon Whedon's horrible. Terrence Williams sucks.
That's just because Whedon's not going to throw the ball downfield.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Game manager time.
Yeah, yep.
That's what it is. But
so that's why you like Dunbar.
Drew Brees. I mean, it's sounding like another dual McCown weekend.
Yep.
And I don't understand why, but I mean the numbers don't lie. Willie Snead, an increase in snaps every week thus far. Played the same amount of snaps last week as Marcus Colston, and meanwhile Brandon Coleman snaps have gone down every week.
Yeah.
There's
nobody I like in this offense. Period.
No, just little.
Even Mark Ingram, if I have him, I got to play him, and he'll do decent. But
Willie Snead just a little interesting for me when Breeze gets back and hopefully comes back to the Breeze of old.
Maybe I think the I don't know. I don't see a ton of talent in him either. Spiller, is he going to become more involved? Peyton came out and said it's his job to make sure he gets more involved. So we'll see. Could he be an interesting name? They need something. They need a spark.
That's for sure.
And they paid some money, so let's see what he can do.
Lions at Seahawks. Say it with me. Avoid Marshawn Lynch, right?
Well, this defense doesn't scare me, but as unhealthy as he is,
hamstring injury flared up last week.
Yeah, but if he plays, you're not going to sit him if he's active.
That's the problem. Adam Schefter currently saying that he has a 50-50 chance of playing Monday night game.
Yeah, but
he's been
ineffective pick up
all
Rawls
this season.
And have the pivot if you need it.
Right, but
just please sit out.
See, that's what you hope from these guys. Like Breeze last week for me.
Ivory last week for me.
I wanted them to sit out to get healthy.
Yeah.
You don't want them to do Roddy White last year when he played through the injury and played like crap.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's it again. Maybe Roddy White's dealing with another injury we don't know about.
No, I think he's just old. He's 33.
His injury is his age. Calvin Johnson presumably will have Richard Sherman on him. Calvin's only played one game against the Seahawks in the last 4 years, and he was 3 for 46 receiving on 8 targets. Small sample size, but I mean, if I'm the Seahawks, I'm focusing on shutting down Johnson. But presumably, every team thinks about that every week, and it doesn't happen. So
yeah,
why would
Calvin
it change
almost. I don't know if Calvin's starting to decline.
Yeah, it's getting there. A guy I think who's really on the uptick and has really gone under the radar. Eric Ebron, 4 or more receptions in every game this season. The Seahawks are allowing the 8th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. It's not like you're going to run on the Seahawks, so they're probably going to have to throw the ball if they want to be in this game. With Calvin presumably being covered, Eric Ebron.
Yeah, I say it every week. He's a freak of nature. Not many tight ends drafted in the first round, and this kid had every reason to be, so you're finally kind of seeing this coming out party.
Yeah. While we're talking about tight ends here, the Lions have allowed a tight end to catch a touchdown in every game this season. So, Jimmy Graham.
The Raiders Jr.
I mean, they're not giving up a ton of yards, but every game...
Hey, Jimmy Graham, they kicked ass last week, and he was extremely involved. A little bit of a correlation, I think. Yeah, Keep it going.
And they're at home again, just like last week, so maybe there's the home factor a little bit. I don't know. Narrative. Who cares? Who cares? All right, well, that's the end of the podcast. Matt, you got anything else you want to do before we go?
No, let's just hurry up. I got to take a piss.
It's all about madness piss. All right, guys, we'll catch you on Sunday. You got any questions for us? Make sure you hit us up on Twitter.
Whoa. Why did we go over our Antonio Andrews argument from earlier today? Because of the bye week coming up.
Yeah, nobody cares about Antonio Andrews.
No,
on the bye week.
I care. Go pick him up. If he's available in your league, go pick him up. First game back, led the team in carries. I think he's going to be the guy in Tennessee. And if he's available on a bye week, you might be able to pick him up pretty inexpensively.
We'll talk more Antonio Andrews next week. There's no sense in bringing that up now.
Yes, there was. Get him cheap now on your fab budget, your waiver wire. If you got a spot, go pick him up before anyone's thinking about it because he's on a bye. That's all. And Mariota, too.
All right, guys, we'll see you.
DGB coming into a bye
see
week.
you guys
Daryl
week.
Green Beckham will be featured in week 5.
Cutting Matt off.
6.
Play the music over him. All right. Bye, guys.